Welcome back to another edition of the Insider Mailbag. I'm Jarret Johnson. I'm joined by the Mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe, it's a little chill here, but it's going to get colder here as the sun continues to go down. But pretty nice weather here in Lubbock today. And you know what? This is the next stop on our tour around campus. We've been to the USA, we've been in the SPC. Now we're here in the middle of campus, Memorial Circle in the background. I got what I believe the math building in the background, so which I know is one of your favorite places. But how are you doing? All the same.
Doing pretty good. This is the heart of campus right here. If you're a homesick Red Raider out there and you're watching this, then this hopefully make you feel at home a little bit.
Absolutely. We'll get some film too at the end of this, just kind of a 360 view, so y'all can see. I know a lot of y'all watch from all over the country, so we'll get that for you. All right, we have some great questions this week. First one comes from Point Man 1. I love this. This is going to be one of the longer questions we've had in a while in the mailbag. But he wants us to talk a little about the upcoming Big 12 SEC Challenge on Saturday, and who do we see winning from the Big 12, and who is going to struggle in their matchup. Tell you what, I'm just going to set it up, and you knock it down as our basketball guy. All right. Baylor 12-8 at number 20 Florida, who is 14-5.
This is the only one where I think the SEC has a clear advantage. I'm not terribly impressed with Baylor right now. If Florida is a pretty dangerous team, I think Florida wins this one going away.
All right, number 20 Tennessee, who is 14-5, at Iowa State, who's 11-8.
That's going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a toss-up, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with the home cooking and say Iowa State.
I think Tennessee wins that, but I think, like you said, at Hilton Coliseum, they might win that. If it was in Knoxville, I'd feel pretty strongly that Tennessee would win, but it's not. So, all right, next one up, Joe is A&M, who's 13-7 and really struggled in SEC play. At number 5 Kansas, who is 16-4, of course, atop the Big 12 standings by a game.
Yeah, and that's at Kansas, isn't it?
That's right.
Okay, well, A&M's a talented team. They are, and they're kind of up and down, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. I think they'll rise up, and I think they're going to give Kansas a pretty good battle, but Kansas will go ahead and win that game, I think. I
agree. All right, Georgia, who's 12-7 at Kansas State, who's really come on here since Tech handled them earlier in the Big 12 schedule. They're 15-5 and right there 5-3 with 4 other teams, including Tech, one game behind Kansas in the Big 12 standings.
Yeah, it's another interesting game. Georgia's is not a bad club, but yeah, I mean, K-State's just on fire right now. Bramlage, the Octagon of Doom, that's a pretty tough place to play. I'm going to go ahead and give it to K-State on that one.
All right, up next we have number 12 OU, who's 15-4, at Alabama, who's 13-7. Avery Johnson, Avery, pretty good program there.
Yeah, and that's another really tough game. I'm going to go ahead and say the Trays of Oklahoma are going to take that one in a close game.
Nice. All right, Oklahoma State, who's 13-7, at Arkansas, who's 14-6.
Yeah, it's going to be another pretty tough battle. This is kind of like the.
This is going to be a really good SEC Big 12 challenge, I think.
Looking forward to it. Camped out in front of the TV all Saturday watching hoops, but I was fairly impressed actually with Oklahoma State. They were better than I thought they were going to be against Tech. So this is a dangerous game for Arkansas, but I'm going to go ahead and say the home team wins this one.
All right, TCU, who's coming off a big upset of West Virginia, they're 15-5 at Vandy, who's struggling this year at 7-13.
Yeah, I think the Horned Frogs are going to duck walk them.
All right, and then Ole Miss, who's 11-9, at Texas, who's 13-7. Very up and down, but good in Austin, of course.
Yeah, that's right. I think Texas takes this one by a fairly solid margin.
All right, this was on paper the marquee matchup, but Kentucky has struggled a little bit. They're all of a sudden they're not ranked. I mean, they are 15-5, but for them that's struggling. They're at number 7 West Virginia, who of course they're looking to come back with a win. So, and going back to Morgantown, what do you think there?
Yeah, Huggins doesn't lose 2 in a row very often. Yeah. He tends to get their attention after losses. I think this is the first time, or last week was the first week that Kentucky wasn't ranked since 2014 or something like that. It's been a long time. Yeah, good game, but I think West Virginia is going to take this one.
All right, number 14 Texas Tech, who's 16-4, at South Carolina, who's 12-7.
Yeah, I tell you what, if the Tech team that played in the second half shows up, then Tech will win this game by double digits. But I'm still gun shy about Tech on the road. They gotta show me, man. And because of that, I'm going to say South Carolina wins this one in a very close game.
All right, so I guess you had, what, 9 Big 12 teams winning? Is that right? 8 or 9?
Right, yeah.
All right, well...
this will be a good barometer.
Huzzah, Big 12!
right. Well, we'll see if anybody's huzzahing afterwards, but this is a really good barometer. Everybody's talking about how tough the Big 12 is. Well, here's the opportunity for everybody to show it.
Juicebox wants to know, what's the word on Texas Tech basketball recruiting trail, and when do we see the next trigger being pulled? Well, I tell you, the main guy right now who you want to watch is Kevin Moore, or Kayvon Moore. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. Kayvon Moore, out of Macon, Georgia. 4-star guy. He's like a 6'8" forward, kind of a do-it-all. He kind of reminds me of I don't say a more skilled, but a more polished Zach Smith, but not as athletic, I guess. Not quite as athletic. Now, the crystal ball says 100% to OU. So, and he's supposed to visit sometime in the season. I thought it was coming up, but I've been told that that may be delayed. I'm not sure why the delay, but I'm efforting on that. But he's the main guy I think I'm watching for. But there's another guy, another 6'8" forward who I really like, and it made me think of you because your time in Jersey. Hey, Frankie, Frankie Patricelli out of New York State. It's another guy. He's a 6'8" forward, kind of guy that Tech really likes. Those wings that can do it all, can go down in the paint, and also play some perimeter ball. I know Coach Al Pinkins had been up there recruiting him pretty hard. They offered in December, and he's a guy who I really think Tech should keep an eye on. He has about a dozen offers, so I mean, all these guys. This isn't like Tech football, honestly. You're going to have a lot of competition with all the guys that they're going after, because that's the level of guys they're recruiting. But you know what? In the last couple of classes, Tech has won a lot of those battles. So it's going to be interesting to watch. Hey, Mighty Joe, is there anybody that you have your eye on the hoops recruiting trail?
Yeah, just one guy, and I don't know how serious Tech is about him for sure, but Austin Johnson, 6'7", like number 4 position player,
okay.
Out of Marietta, Georgia.
All right.
And interesting thing about that is Marietta is Chris Beard's hometown.
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, that's purely coincidence, I'm sure. But so apparently they're hitting the state of Florida. Kayvon Moore,
yeah.
I think it's from Macon. And then Austin Johnson, if they're still after him, is a 6'7" guy out of Marietta, Georgia.
Beard claims a lot of hometowns. Irving, Georgia, whatever. How many, Houston, how many hotels does Coach Beard have?
I don't know, man. I guess he's home wherever he lays his hat.
There's a couple of junior college guys too I think we should keep an eye on that I'm efforting to get a hold of too, but I've heard from good sources that there's a couple of guys keeping an eye on. One is everybody's after him. Half the Big 12 is after this guy. He's 6'10", and I'm going to butcher these, I'm sure. Yuat Alak out of Chippewa College in Florida. Like I said, Baylor, TCU. Half the Big 12 is after this guy, but Tech is in there. Coach Pinkins, once again, is a guy who's really recruiting him hard, has been out there in Florida, so that's a guy to keep an eye on. And it's funny, it's a junior college guy from Florida, but it is turning into like a Big 12 recruiting battle for him. If that doesn't happen, if that falls through, there's a guy at San Jacinto College in Pasadena, another 6'10" junior college guy, and I'm going to have to look at this because I'm going to butcher this. Jethro, I got that part, but his last name is Tisumpa is what I'm going to go with. I like him, but Tech hadn't offered yet as far as I know, but they have looked at him. He is an option if a couple of things fall through. He has some size to him, kind of a rim protector, finisher, around the basket kind of guy. So those are a couple of junior college guys to keep an eye on. Captain Popsicle says, with National Signing Day 2 weeks away and it looking like Tech still has 6 to 7 spots, what's the outlook on the class and how do we see them filling it? Well, I'll tell you what, it's really like up and down with this class. I really like what they did on the offensive line. I really like what they've done at wide receiver. You have your quarterback in Alan Bowman. Now I realize a lot of people believe this to be a long shot. I do think he ends up at Arkansas, but John Stephen Jones is coming in for a visit this weekend. If he signs, all of a sudden you feel really good about your quarterback class. You have 2 running backs coming in also on an official this weekend, Mighty Joe. Tayshawn Henry, I do think he likes Nebraska. He did enjoy his official last weekend at Oregon State, but Tech has an opportunity to wow him, and they can tempt him with playing time. And being kind of an all-purpose guy who's going to get a lot of touches in this offense. So it could happen, especially if Nebraska kind of passes on him. And Sir Roderick Thompson's another guy who I really like from the Metroplex, a running back. He's rushed for over 1,000 yards each of the last 2 years, 30 touchdowns combined in the last two seasons. So I like him. He's an unorthodox guy. He reminds me a lot of DeLeon Ward in that he doesn't really have top end speed. He's not really like a truck stick guy, but he breaks a lot of tackles and he's really quick and has good vision. So, I mean, that can end up really filling out the offensive side of the ball. Now, defensively, you basically have one signee in Jalen Hutchins, and then you got 2 defensive linemen committed who just came on officials, and I do believe they're going to sign John Scott and then Xavier Benson. After that, though, I'm a little nervous. You have Jacoby Simpson, a linebacker coming in. He's out of the Houston area. I really like him. It's basically down between you and TCU. If you get him, it's a huge win, and you feel really good. He's an inside linebacker, thumper kind of guy. I mean, think Rico Jeffers. I'm not saying he's quite as good, but he's Power 5 level inside linebacker in a couple of years. So I really like him. And then, you got to start looking at some defensive backs. They've been looking around, but I think that's going to be something in the following weekend. Maybe you can get, on campus, but you're not going to have them on campus this weekend, it looks like. And then finally, I want to say Preston Gordon, a grad transfer from Rice. I think he commits to the good guys this weekend. So that will add depth up front, a little security if a couple of your defensive tackles who have been in trouble in the past get in trouble again. There's some security for you, at least for a year, a buffer for a year. I really like Preston Gordon, 3-year starter at Rice, been very productive.